It's 420 somewhere, and right now that somewhere is right here. Hello there, I'm Janae Burris.
And I'm Jake Brown. Welcome to the Cannabis Show, where we talk all things weed. That's hashtag all things weed. I want to congratulate Janae. It is her 3rd year anniversary of being here in Colorado.
I made it. I just got my native sticker in the mail.
People got so mad at me. I was like, I've officially lived here longer than anywhere else last year. And I was like, that makes me a native, right? Just joking. 50 Facebook comments.
How many 14ers have you done?
None.
None. You can't be native till you do a couple 14ers.
Do you have a highlight of your time in Colorado so far?
So far, it just happened performing at Red Rocks because it wasn't even on my radar before I got here.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's from the YouTube video.
And I've seen that place.
Never thought about performing there, so that's the highlight so far. It's been pretty awesome. You know, I like to hate everything. Hashtag negative Negro, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Even the bland tacos, I don't hate all the way.
It's just the food. All right, well, I'm here 3 more years. 3 more years. Hashtag 3 more years.
Okay, what's going on with you? What's up with Oakland?
I just got back. I was in Oakland for literally 11 hours. I flew in. I was really got a chance to meet a bunch of new grow-off competitors. We just launched out there, so it was so much fun. And then I got on a plane and came right back.
You're a madman, dude.
I didn't get to see any Oakland.
I can't believe you're like traveling like that. That's crazy.
Me either, especially because I hacked Southwest and I was just like, move me up a boarding group, please. I took out Instagram and just changed the C to a B. I think that might be a federal crime. I'm going to find out, apparently.
You're so good.
There's a good life hack for you.
There's a good guy to know right here.
Get on
some weird
Instagram.
stuff.
You change whatever letter you want. You can be A1 if you want. I think they'll get suspicious.
Oh my God, I find you so fascinating sometimes. You're just like nice on the outside, but then just like all this knowledge, weird, sneaky spy knowledge on the inside. But outside, it's just like, hey guys, I'm Jake. I'm just sweet-faced Jake.
That's how you get meetings with Donald Trump Jr. All right, let's get into the week of weed. I want to start with an update on things that are inevitable in Colorado: taxes and weed.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, the state has now hit a huge milestone, according to our own Alicia Wallace. That's $500 million in tax revenue from legal ganja. Now, as I said last week, this is a relatively small dent in the state budget, like offering to get the rolling papers when your buddy buys an ounce, but it's a huge deal when lawmakers forget to spend that cash. Legislators pulled the ultimate stoner move when they failed to allocate funds from a new tax increase on cannabis, leaving several state-supported organizations coming up short. Now, for large departments like the Regional Transportation District, or RTD, or the Denver's bus system, for those of you who aren't here, it's still a small portion of their budget, but we don't know how this will affect arts and science institutions. Lawmakers are looking at an emergency session to shore up the era. Why do I keep saying era instead of error? All right, well, that was a fun era on my part. Yes, they're going to try and shore up that error, dot their I's, cross their sativas. Hopefully we get the arts some money.
You know, I'm a gal all about the arts, and I write the RTD, so
Listen, this is just checking all of the boxes.
Let's fix it. Yeah, let's get this money out to where Janae needs it, personally. All right. Hello there. Anchorage, Alaska is in the race. All right, they are on the board for this novel idea right here. Hello. The State Assembly Board is urging marijuana regulators to pass laws that allow consumers to consume their legal purchases in retail shops. Yes, consumers can consume. They recognize the dilemma that comes with asking tourists and locals to find private property to consume commercial marijuana. The board bailed on a proposal that would make it the first state to allow marijuana consumption in a retail setting. Okay, Nevada, Colorado, Washington, are you even awake?
Hello.
You still have a chance to be the first to really be on board with legal recreational consumption and create regulations that allow adults of legal age, okay, this is all legal, to enjoy pot without having to be property owners. I see the next wave of cannabis entrepreneurs opening full retail experiences for consumers when they're hands are finally untied. Soon we'll have coffee shops, lounges, weed bars, infused restaurants, music venues, day spas that appreciate the hard-earned dollars of responsible cannabis users. Check out the full story in this week's Cannabis to read more about how Alaska is forging ahead with this great idea.
Are you ready for cannabis, like pro-cannabis comedy clubs? Is that going to be a thing?
I have been in a couple.
Yeah, but like where there people are just like sitting in the front row smoking a joint. How was this?
You wish they were smoking a joint. They're smoking blunts, individual. Everybody's got their own blunts, and they got dab rigs going, and they're the worst audience possible.
So there's just like a torch, like
yeah, just right in the middle of your set, and you better be ready to talk about it. But I mean, it's weird in comedy clubs just because it kind of slows down the pacing of things.
Sure.
I mean, I know the effects of marijuana. They don't keep you.
You say like a total not
don't.
I understand the effects of marijuanas.
But nobody's like on their toes and getting every joke, so you just kind of got to slow your set down. What I love about having cannabis in a comedy club is that cannabis smokers are the coolest people I know.
Yeah.
They're just open-minded, cool people, and I like having them in my audience. And if I have to slow down my joke and repeat my punchline, I'm willing to do it.
Yeah, I've never seen a stoned heckler. I've seen people get drunk and make fools of themselves.
They're like your stoned hype squad.
The stoned hype squad.
We're into
We've got tiny hype.
There's nothing wrong with it. I really love having those guys. I like for people to be able to, they don't have to leave to go smoke if they feel like they want to smoke.
Sure.
They can just sit there and enjoy themselves like they were in their own home. So I like the idea of having a cannabis-friendly comedy clubs.
All right, well, turning to a guy who's providing a lot of comedy lately, President Trump is worried that large sacks of drugs may kill people, and not because they're doing large sacks of drugs, which usually kills people. Speaking to pool reporters on Air Force One, Trump defended the need for a literally transparent wall by saying, quote, "As horrible as it sounds, when they throw the large sacks of drugs over and you have people on the other side of the wall, you don't see them, they hit you in the head with 80 pounds of stuff, it's over."
Oh my God, that is just crazy.
Now, as the Washington Post, Christopher Ingram notes on his story, large drug trebuchets or catapults are an actual thing that are used to launch illicit drugs over the border. But according to experts, no level of transparency is going to protect people from their payloads. At the end of the day, this just reaffirms what we already know. It's very hard to stop the flow of drugs into our country as long as there's a strong demand for them. And demand for 60 pounds of weed from Mexico has to be at an all-time low, right?
Yeah, isn't it?
I can't remember the last time I saw just like a brick of bad weed.
What if you got like weed and it was stamped with Mexico? You just what?
Hecho in Mexico?
Yeah, would you even want that?
I think that I would try it just for like nostalgia's sake. Get out the frisbee, give it a shake so all the seeds
like
fall
20
down.
years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it brings me right back to high school in Iowa. Yeah, it made it. They weren't launching that far north.
What's the word you said? Trebuchet.
Trebuchet. There's an entire subreddit devoted to trebuchets. They're odd people, but I love them.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun.
There's a little look in my internet history.
All right. A Colorado court has decided that the smell of marijuana is not enough cause to search your vehicle, and drug-sniffing dogs may have to consider a new vocation. Hello, Fluffy. Have you considered something else? A 3-dog panel. Excuse me. I mean 3-judge panel. Dog judge is not a thing yet, and I'm probably thinking of 3 Dog Night. That's what came into my mind, which is a band famous for a song about a bullfrog, has ruled that law-abiding pot smokers have a legitimate expectation of privacy, and no narc dog can take that right away. All right, narc dog, get out of my life. This is great news for consumers who are sick and tired of refilling that travel-sized Febreze bottle. Who do you think you were fooling? Anyway, guys, we all smell it. But bad news for little pups. Little pups who dreamed their whole lives of becoming a cop dog. Worry not, puppy. There are other options. My top 5 other careers a drug-sniffing dog should consider, because there is more to life than sniffing drugs. All right, dogs? Number 5. That face, those eyes. Have you tried acting? Hello, dog. In 1929, at the very first Academy Awards, German Shepherd acting dog Rin Tin Tin received the most votes for Best Actor. They gave the award to some upright walking boar, but we live in more progressive times. So you could be the next Augie from The Artist, drug dog. All right, stay with it.
What about Air Bud?
That is not an Oscar-winning dog, but that is a good gig right there. All right, I don't have any IMDb credits.
The Air Bud. I'm dead.
These dogs there's so much potential for these dogs. All right, number 4 in the careers that you could have, dog. I'm talking to you. Dog families, leave the room. I'm just talking to the dog. Number 4, search and rescue dog. Have you ever considered this job? It's a job for only the bravest pups. You'll have to refocus that smoke smeller and attune the old olfactories to human flesh. That's a good government job, though, okay? And the best chance at earning a sweet pension. Consider that. Number 3 in my mind, herding dog. You're a born leader. Why not put those skills to the test by becoming a herding dog? Like Babe, the pig. You remember? That was a great movie. You get to boss around larger animals like cows and sheep. You and the missus have been dreaming of living out the rest of your days on that nice farm they sent your mom to all those years ago.
Oh my God.
Number 2, war dog. You can be a war dog. Have you considered that, Fluffy? Little Huey, little, I don't know what your dog's name are. Casey, you're a badass fighting, biting machine. Grab your AK and get out there and blast away those bad guys. Dogs have fought in combat for centuries, and the taste for blood is in your blood, hound. Number 1. Number one career opportunity for dogs who used to be drug sniffing dogs. You could be a best friend dog. Hey man, you've already got everything it takes, drug dog. You're loyal, you're a great listener, and you won't rat me out when I inevitably end up smoking weed where I shouldn't. You're my best friend. All right.
I think number 1, that's my favorite segment we've ever done. Number 2, I like that you explained Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Just for any millennials that are listening, like 3 Dog Night, the ultimate county fair band.
Yeah.
But then War Dog.
War Dog, which should be a movie. So acting dog, you should be in a movie called War Dog.
And then they'll have a stunt dog that'll play them for the war
Let's
scenes.
get these dogs employed, man. They're going to be out of work soon. We're going to have dogs on the street,
how are they
jobless
feed their
dogs.
Puppies?
How are they going to feed their puppies? How are they going to...
All right, let's go to some world news. Uruguay kicked off their super cheap... Uruguay kicked off their super cheap medical marijuana program this week with state-mandated grams for only $1.30. For some perspective, the first recreational gram I purchased here in Colorado was for more than $20.
Oof.
Yeah. So they're going to be available in pharmacies all across the country. There's no doctor notes or waivers that you need to sign, but there's also no advertising, with which public health official Julio Calzada says prevents marketing pot similar to companies in our state. He's worried that, quote, the risk of what they're doing in Colorado is that you end up with something like the tobacco industry, which is a regular talking point of anti-cannabis activists right here. There's also a purchase limit of 40 grams a month, commonly referred to as a Snoop afternoon, and a thumbprint scanner that can tell the pharmacist how close you are to hitting your limit. Now, currently there are 4,500 signups, but don't rush to register before your next vacation there, as pot is only available to citizens of Uruguay, thus preventing the Harold and Kumar Go to Uruguay movie.
Nice. He's good.
Is that, I feel like I've said hecho en Mexico.
You said a French word earlier.
Trebuchet does sound French.
You're so good.
Listen, we're just students of the world here.
I love it. You're good. Roll the Mars. All right. Hey, hello, Nevada. Hello there, Nevada. Sweet Nevada. It's me, your friend Janae. Are you saving any weed for me? I'll be there before you know it. I don't want to freak out about it, but I'm starting to feel a little bit itchy, okay? A little bit itchy. All right, I'm going to Nevada without being able to make a purchase. That would break my heart. That'd be like going to Red Lobster and being told they're out of cheddar biscuits. All right? I can still enjoy my meal. Sure, I'll still enjoy the buffets and the poker, but it will feel incomplete. All right? I plan on coming to Vegas and documenting either my awesome infused vacation or my total crybaby freak out with my family. You decide, Nevada. If there are any friends of the show in Nevada, please, dear God, please reach out to your girl, Negative Negro. Let me know how you're getting along in Nevada during the Weed Dust Bowl of 2017. I need you.
Are they fully out yet?
I don't know, man, but after our stories from last week and the week before, I'm just like, there's no way that they can hold out that long. Like, where is it going to suddenly come from? I know that they've kind of, approved these emergency regulations, but how much is that going to put on the shelves?
Right, and then, you know what's going to happen? People are going to have to start, like, just buying the edibles nobody wants. There's, like, infused, like, canned ham.
Please don't make me
like,
go get infused canned ham. I don't eat canned ham.
The more that you say it, I'm getting hungry.
Oh, my God.
All right, for more on this and all of these stories, visit us online at thecannabis.co. Now, let's go to the Cannabist's Kitchen, where Top Chef winner Chef Jose Rosenberg teaches you how to make a cannabis spinach salad in his latest installment of Infused.
Hi there, I'm Jose Rosenberg, chef and restaurateur. We're cooking with Binsk this morning. We're doing some fun recipes, simple, easy things you can do at home, but also restaurant worthy. So we're going to start with a warm spinach salad with some bacon, pine nuts, goat cheese, and we're utilizing the Binsk wildflower honey and the lemon olive oil to make the dressing. There's two things you have to do first. You want to pickle the red onions and you want to get your bacon crispy. So we're going to get the bacon in a pan, we're going to get the onions pickling, and then we're going to put the salad together. My friends at Tender Belly provided this, but you can go to any good grocery store and buy some nice bacon or come by our butcher shop in Boulder. We're going to save all the bacon fat. That's going to be part of the base of the dressing. Now I'm going to do the pickled red onion. This is something you can actually do days ahead. So I have a peeled red onion. I cut it in half, and I'm going to make little, what we call French cuts, little julienne slices. These are going to go in a pot with some vinegar, water, and sugar, and a pinch of salt, some red vinegar. I like the red wine vinegar because these onions turn kind of pink after it's done. We got about 2 tablespoons of sugar. I've got a perfect measuring spoon. It's called my fingers. We're going to bring this to a boil. Let it cool for a couple hours. You can even do it the day before. Put it in your fridge. The other ingredients we have for the salad, toasted pine nuts. So if you can't find toasted pine nuts, buy raw pine nuts, put them in the oven. About 350 for 4 or 5 minutes. You just want to watch them, stir them around a little bit until they get evenly browned. This is a local goat cheese. You want plain goat cheese, but a recipe like this, I even wrote it down. Add whatever you want. This is the way I like it, but you can add dried fruit, other nuts. You can put a different cheese on there. Something like this is not set in stone. The fun about cooking is that you can make it your own. Okay, this bacon is nice and crispy now. Pull the cooked bacon out of the pan and set it aside so we can garnish our salad with it. But we want to keep most of this bacon fat right here in the pan because that's going to be the base for our dressing. Because why not? Everything is better with bacon. I know you can't smell this out there, but it's delicious. We're going to leave this bacon fat in the pan. What we're going to do is we're going to add a little vinegar, some red wine vinegar, a little bit of Dijon mustard, some of the Binsk honey. I'm doing 2 capfuls. That looks good. And I'm putting in 3 dropperfuls, which is about another 10 milligrams of the lemon olive oil. So we're going to get this dressing just mixed up, nice and hot. So we're going to just bring this back to a boil. And we're going to pour it over the spinach, toss it really quickly, and serve. So your total recipe here has 20 milligrams, which is going to be 5 milligrams per person if there's 4 people. If you want to go lighter, there's 2 ways to do it with the THC. You can either put less of the ingredients in the dressing, or you can just not use all of the dressing and save some for later. Those go right on top of the salad. They're kind of crunchy still, but they're tart and sweet. And we serve. That's it. So we've got a warm spinach salad with bacon, pine nuts, goat cheese, pickled red onion, and The dressing is made with the Binsk wildflower honey and the Binsk lemon infused olive oil. Bon appetit.
Thanks, Chef. And to see that spinach salad in all of its glory, don't forget you can check it out on our YouTube channel by visiting the dpo.st/potvids. That's dpost with a dot in between the O and the S and the T /potvids. Our guest today wants to create the Olympics of cannabis. Please join me in welcoming Jim McAlpine to the show. Jim. Welcome back, friend of the show.
Second time.
Making your grand return. I wasn't here for the first time, so I'm just going to assume the 420 games is, there's like a trellis climb, there's a dizzy bong contest. What are people doing?
Taco Bell at the finish line. I've gotten a lot of that kind of stuff. No, I'm just kidding. So, no, really, it's...
Then it would be the Hunger Games, right?
There we go.
Really high, and then...
Those are the jokes I hear when people hear the 420 games. They think, how many bong hits can you take, joint rolling contest, but it's really about using athletics to change the perception of the lazy stoner, to change the perception of both the plant cannabis and the many people that are not stoners that use marijuana.
Did you have a background in athletics, like a former gym teacher, or are you just like, hey, let's do this?
I've always been an athlete, an average Joe per se. I've never been a pro athlete, but I played, sports up and through college, and I've been a skier and a surfer, and so athletics have always been important to me, and I've always enjoyed cannabis both before and after most of my athletic endeavors.
That's interesting because now you're starting to have more and more athletes talk about using cannabis before and after games. Basketball player, oh God, name's escaping me now, but talking about how people would obviously come into the locker room high and it wasn't a big deal. You're actually working with some, former professional athletes to do this event. And if I understand correctly, they're going to be coaching?
So coming up, our next event's here in Denver, and it is a kickball tournament with 6 ex-professional athletes. We have UFC legend Frank Shamrock, which most people have heard of, coaching one of the teams. That's right.
Even I know that name. Oh, snap.
And then we've got 3 ex-Denver Broncos. See if I can remember here. We've got Charlie Adams, Tatum Bell, and Ruben Drones. And we've also got Marcus Harris, who I think's been on this show, and my good friend Evan Britton. And they're all coaching kickball and playing with the people that sign up to play on the teams at our 420 games in Denver.
Wait, so there's not a single former soccer player that's coaching kickball? We have that correct.
Unfortunately, we couldn't get any MLS players to sign up. That's a good idea, though. I should have thought of that.
No. That's so I've done kickball leagues before. My fiance made me retire.
I've heard of your kickball prowess, by the way. It's been mentioned to me.
She said I'm too competitive for friendly leagues. That I've almost injured myself terribly a couple times. But those leagues are always like beer in hand kind of leagues.
Right.
Is this like a joint in hand kind of league where people need to be consuming cannabis while they play?
No. So it's we don't have consumption at our events, and it's for a very targeted reason. Our events are family friendly. We have kids out there. Also, the rules in Denver, which I'd love to talk a little bit about also, prohibit it. But really, we're trying to change the perception of cannabis. People can medicate discreetly before or after outside of the event, but inside of our event, we're there to be athletes first and show an advocacy for cannabis. So it's not really about coming out to smoke or get high, although many people do that before or after. It's about showing, hey, we're athletes, and we want you to look at cannabis a different way.
See, it's interesting because Denver has just kind of come up with these new, social use rule, and when they talk about it, it's always, behind closed doors or on patios that are closed to the public. So even under these new laws, you wouldn't be able to have an event where people could go out and use casually, maybe in a side area. Would that ever be something that you would consider as having, a designated consumption area where people could use, but keep it more family, oriented in a majority of the space?
Eventually, when all the laws and everything get to the place where we can do that, I'd like to have our cannabis consumption looked at like a wine tasting, where people are actually taking the time to taste and really see what the cannabis is versus how much they can smoke. And we do currently at many of our events do an after party at a private location where the people that want to come after the race can come and talk about the day and medicate together. So we're going down that exact road. Okay.
Now, you said you want to talk about Denver, because I know whenever anybody tries to have events here, that's always the big, how are we going to have it and have consumption? I mean, if somebody were to light up at your event, would you be fined? Would everybody be asked to leave? What happens there?
So, I mean, we always have someone light up or hit their vape pen. It just happens. So we politely ask them and say, hey, you know, the rules are you're not supposed to smoke. I've never had a problem. People say, oh, you know, sorry, and they go outside. So it's never become an issue. I don't think we've never had any issues with the law either. I mean, if someone smokes, I've seen the police come up and say, hey, you're not supposed to smoke here. So the police have been pretty, honestly, very cool at all of the events we've done. It's more the city officials and the laws that have really been very prohibiting. And, you know, I don't fault the many officials that have to enforce the laws that were written. I kind of go back to it's just kind of blows my mind to see the juxtaposition of, like, you can have alcohol at all these events and cigarettes and all these other things that can be advertised in an overt way.
Well, yeah, that's because we're all addicted to alcohol and cigarettes. Right? So we need them. We're not addicted to weed yet.
Well, I mean, we've literally been told at our event, so I had a bunch of dispensaries, I had Willie's Reserve and a bunch of Incredibles, a bunch of these great companies, really good companies.
Incredibles friends of the show. Willie's Reserve, what are you guys doing? So you've had a bunch of people approach you.
They had to pull out of what we were doing. They're going to be part of our kickball tournament and whatnot, but they can't. They could have a booth at our event. This is what I had to call and tell my friend Amy from Willie's. I said, "Hey, Amy, I just got the rules from the city, and as I'm reading them, they say that you can't have your logo, you can't have a banner, you can't have a tent with your name on it, you can't wear a shirt with your name on it, can't hand out flyers." I mean, at that point, as a businessman, I wouldn't come to my own event to market myself because it's pointless, you know. So it literally puts so many regulations on the good people that do good business that they literally can't market their products, and it's upsetting to me.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about trying to bring fun events to the city, I think that that's a really that's an important point to make. That, you know, even being able to have cannabis businesses support those events, even if there's no consumption, these marketing laws really handcuff them. So in terms of being able to have some sponsors, I know that you have Lagunitas involved, and I've always been a huge supporter of them because they're one of the more cannabis-forward beer brands, right?
Yes,
they're like,
the best.
they make no bones about the fact that they're like, hey, yeah, we're kind of pro-cannabis. How did that come along, and have you worked with them in other events, or is this a new thing?
Yeah, I mean, straight up, Lagunitas is awesome. And they've supported me, and I have another company that does ski and snowboard events, and we've done it for a long time, and they've been a long-time sponsor of that. When I brought this to them, they just looked at me and giggled and said, we're in, you know, like they immediately supported it. And that's something I'd like to talk a little bit about, too, because Lagunitas, let's finish on. I mean, Tony, the founder of Lagunitas, an incredible cannabis advocate. They were busted at their brewery for letting people smoke in their tasting room, so they kind of make a joke out of it now, and they have different beers that kind of named after what happened. But, you know, really at the end of the day...
Wait, what's the beer that's named after the cops showing up and busting up their party? I want a sixer of it.
It escapes me right now.
But get on it, Google or Internet.
Really, at the end of the day, there's some great pieces on Tony. They literally just sold their company for $1 billion to Heineken, but they kept Lagunitas as it is, and Tony's become the head of their global craft brew department. So it's not going to turn into some, you know, commercialized beer. It's going to stay what it is.
That sounds like the most oxymoronic title, though. Head of global craft brew.
That actually is pretty funny.
All right, so Libby, tell me a little bit about kind of how this has grown, because it sounds like you've done quite a few of these now.
Which cities were you in before Denver?
So I started this 3 years back in San Francisco, and that was our first place, the bastion of liberality that San Francisco is. And again, same thing there. I had a hard time with the city officials. The cops were very friendly and open to us. But I started it there. It really kind of took off there, and that was the seed of a social movement that I think's blossomed into a whole plant now. Last year we did Denver, Boulder, Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. We're doing all those cities again, and we've added Las Vegas and Phoenix this year.
All right.
Okay. Now, what's the connection? Because you say the 420 games, and it's like, okay, I don't think of kickball necessarily as anything that's associated with cannabis culture. I know that you've done some other kind of events where it's not just kickball. You'll do kind of like runs, or I saw one thing where people are like picking up kegs and
Lagunitas kegs.
Yeah, Lagunitas kegs.
Yeah, so the true 420 games, and it always has been, it's been a 4.20 mile run. We call it going the extra mile for cannabis because a 5K is basically about 3 miles. It's 3.1 miles. So we're running one more extra mile to be like, what? You know, we're not lazy. And I thought you'd like that. And so, yeah, that's the true, real core of what we do is we all come out. Many people walk. We have elderly people, people in wheelchairs. My daughter's done it. She started at 6 and she's 8 now, and she's run a bunch of them. But it's all about camaraderie and just finishing. You know, there's some competitive runners. Avery Collins from here, who's an ultra marathoner, does our races and beats everyone by like 5 minutes. But
a jerk.
Yeah, he's a little bit better.
Guy sounds
Give him more weed, slow him down a little bit.
That's what I'm like worried about now. If I go and play kickball, there's going to be like some 6-year-old I just smoke. And I'm like, oh my god, now I'm that guy. So there are some competitive elements.
We have yoga before the run, yoga after the run. We do some, what you were talking about is kind of a CrossFit-esque type of thing. We call the Power Plant Fitness Challenge, where you do burpees and run with kegs and kind of show that you're fit and you have endurance. And the whole day is just centered around all different types of athletics. We've done dodgeball at some of the events, and we just added in kickball because we're advocating, and I work with on the board a bit with something called Athletes for Care. It's a bunch of ex-professional athletes that are my friends and that I work with. And they've started a nonprofit to really educate and do research on, you know, as you retire from sports, it's a pretty big change, especially when you're a professional athlete. And, you know, it's beyond just professional athletes, all athletes, how we can use cannabis, kind of proliferating the message that we're pushing out, that it's medicine, and, you know, maybe think about taking cannabis instead of opiates and painkillers and pharmaceutical drugs. And it's a great organization, and that's why we're doing it here in Denver, to bring awareness to their organization.
Okay, so are they primarily helping? Because I know that, you know, former athletes have a host of issues in terms of like finding gainful employment, kind of making those next steps. But I also think that there's a ton of people in the cannabis community that probably need help more than like former professional athletes. So when you talk about, you know, opioid addiction or, you know, education with athletes, I mean, how does that really span the cannabis community?
Wow, I mean, I think the way these guys even talk about it, they don't talk about it just being for pro athletes. It trickles down to everyone. I literally just moderated a panel at Harvard Medical School on this exact topic about 3 months ago. Had Ricky Williams, Eben Britton, and a few other football players along with 2 doctors. And one thing I really noticed, we had about 300 physicians in the room. And when I first started doing this and talking in panels, you know, I felt like people were humoring me and they might ask a question. They almost laughed at us. This time, I mean, literally we were bombarded with questions. The doctors were engaged. They really wanted to hear about all the things that we were talking about, because in medical school, they don't teach you that, you know? So I think the message for Athletes for Care goes well beyond pro athletes, and it really is just for anyone, whether you go for a walk in the morning or you're, you know, on the gridiron. It's just about looking at how you can recover and live your life as an athlete in a different way than kind of the past behind us, where everyone was, you know, swallowing pills to feel better.
All right, so in terms of peak performance for you, is it edibles, flower, concentrates, topicals?
All of the above.
Whoa!
No,
that gets intense.
I like them all, but in their own situation. So, like, I love when I'm going to go skiing or surfing to activate. I say that instead of get high by vaping or smoking, because it's, you know, I do that and I paddle right out into the water. Or I go skiing and it's very quick. If I'm going to go swimming and do a long distance swim or something, I like to do an edible, because, you know, I'll start sober, and when I get tired in the middle of a mile or 2 mile swim, it kind of kicks in and becomes fun again.
Sure.
So you know, it depends on the activity. If I want to feel a focus and an elevation when I'm doing an extreme sport or something like that, I usually smoke right before. If I'm doing more of an endurance sport, I'll usually use an edible, so it's a longer term. And then afterwards, you know, the topicals and all that kind of stuff. I have bad knees and bad back, and I literally was one of those guys that thought it was a farce for us to be able to smoke weed, calling that stuff medicine and CBD, and it's really changed my life with my knees and my back. And
not only is it medicine, it's performance enhancing for you.
It's a wellness substance. You know, my thing is that they call it either recreational or medical, but truthfully, in my opinion, the biggest section of people use it for wellness. You know, they use it for whatever the variety of ailments they may have. They don't have cancer, and they're not smoking it to play video games, but they're doing it just to stay well, just like the many other supplements that we all take in our life.
All right, so is there going to be a place before the 420 games where people are going to go get well? Is there like a parking lot, or people just going to do it at their own discretion and show up?
Yeah, people will do it at their own discretion.
All
People
right.
kind of pick up on the vibe, like outside of our event, you can do whatever you choose. We just ask you here inside of our walls of the event to be respectful of the rules.
I never want to miss. I don't want to be the guy that wasn't invited. So, all right, as long as there's not a designated meeting place. All right, let's go to pot or not.
All
Dun, 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 dun. We didn't have any no suggestions out there. Twitter, we're going to give away a great T-shirt. So if you want to play at home, give us a pot or not suggestion. The way it works is it's something that either is a strain name or sounds like a strain name.
Has anyone gone 10 for 10 in this yet?
No. Our current high score is 7 out of 10. I'm like, I invented the game. I just have no idea what the high score is. But so what you can do, you can tweet us with the hashtag pot or not, or you can do a Facebook suggestion. Just make sure that your post is marked to public so I can find it. If it's just your friends and we're not friends, not gonna get it. All right, Jim, are you ready for pot or not?
Let's do this.
Tell me if it's pot or if it's not. Number 1, Kiefer Sutherland.
That, as I'm recollect, is an actor.
That is correct.
All right.
1 point.
That's a great name, though. It's a great.
Yeah,
It's got
We
better
need to
weed
start a
name.
strain like that, actually. You know?
And then don't sue
Is
us,
he a
Mr.
pot
Sutherland.
smoker?
I don't think so.
He probably is.
Let's find out.
He used to be into everything.
He's an intense dude.
He's an intense dude.
So maybe he needs to be a smoker. All right, 1 point on the board. Number 2, cushion cheese. Cushion cheese.
Can you spell that, please?
That's Kush-N-cheese.
I'm gonna
The way
say
you would spell cheese.
spelling bee style. You have to spell it out for me. So I'm gonna go with pot on that one.
That
Cannabis.
is pot.
Oh,
Damn,
yeah.
2 for 2. He's trying to Dynafem seeds.
He
They
didn't
just
even
crossed
make
some
you use it in a
OGs.
sentence.
Right. I just
What's the
smoked
root
some
of the word,
cushion
please?
cheese. All right, so you're 2 for 2. Let's see. Number 3, government mule.
That's marijuana.
That is definitely
Is it?
That is pot. So it's also a band, but Canacopia has crossed G13 and Deep Chunk. 3 for 3.
Is there a database for weed names? Because I looked online and I found something. But
We use Leafly here. We use Leafly on the show.
Leafly?
That's our official.
Okay.
That's our official show Bible. So either
I'm a
yay or
Leafly
nay.
fan as well.
Yeah, they're and if it's not on Leafly, then we'll just trust
I'm
you.
always the last one to know. All right, fine.
Well, if you know this one, number 4, dressage.
Dressage.
What?
Is dressage pot or not?
Not.
It is not. That's horse dancing.
Dressage. I thought it was a cologne from the 90s. Dressage.
Could be.
Dressage noir.
It's just Mitt Romney's picture with like half a shirt on.
Ew.
Yeah, no, it really turns you off. All right, number 5, green crack.
That is one of the strains that I enjoy. So that is pot.
It is pot. 5 for 5.
Ooh, I might be the top high score here.
It could all fall apart right here with number 6, red rooster. Red rooster.
To me, this sounds like one of those trick ones that it is pot and it sounds like pot, but I'm going to say not pot.
It is not pot. That is an energy drink.
It's hot sauce.
Well, is it hot sauce?
Red Rooster? That's hot sauce, man.
It was like a knockoff of Red Bull, but also hot sauce.
yeah, Red
Never
Rooster's
mix the
hot
two.
sauce.
That sounds like a weed name, though, right there. It's a good one.
You are 6 for 6. Number 7, A Midsummer's Blue Dream. A Midsummer's Blue Dream.
Now, I know Blue Dream is a strain, so I'm going to say yes, that's pot.
That is not pot. I just made that one up. I'm sorry.
He's too
Man,
good at
oh,
making
man, oh,
them up. He
man.
will throw you off.
I want
for
a half
sure.
point because the Blue Dream was in there.
I think that was. I'm also going to give credit to Alex Pasquarello for helping us out with that one.
Oh,
I don't
what a
appreciate that
nerd
question,
he
Alex
is. A little
Pasquarello.
Shakespeare nerd.
Yeah,
I love it.
know
Let's
it.
make that strain. I'd smoke it.
All right, you can tie the high score with this. Number 8, Amnesia Haze.
All right, you tricked me on the last one, and the one before that was a trick question.
Is it pot or is it not? 3,
Pot.
2. It is.
All right.
Amnesia Haze. I got in some trouble. I made a bad Wes Welker joke around Amnesia Haze back when he was getting all those concussions. I apologize, Wes. You're a good man. Have fun at the Derby this year. All right, number 9, Petunia Fish.
That's not pot.
That is not. That's the name of comedian John Mulaney's dog. And that is a new high score with 8 out of 9. Can he go 9 for 10 with the last one? Thin Mint Girl Scout cookies.
Girl Scout cookies is pot. Thin Mints is not. So I'm going to say Thin Mint Girl Scout cookies is actually the cookie that you eat.
That is actually pot. It's one of these Girl Scout cookies crosses. They keep coming up with fun names. But 8 out of 10. Jim, you're a new house. I will take it. All right, let's do plugs. Janae, what do you have coming up?
Oh, okay. I have Monday at Goosetown Tavern. That'll be Monday, July 24th. I got a show over there. And I got one show booked in Vegas at the Sahara. That'll be on the 27th. If you're in Nevada or Las Vegas, come and see me. I know the Sahara's closed down, okay? For some reason, we're doing comedy there anyway, so please come and see that. And as always, Pussy Bros Presents and all Pussy Bros birthday party. My monthly shows.
Awesome. Jim, where can people find more info on the games?
Well, you can, Denver, I'm doing it July 22nd. Everybody that finishes gets this. And then you can get more info on our other events in San Francisco, Phoenix, Vegas at www.420games.org. And quickly, I want to say one thing. Ricardo Bach is a friend of mine. I played golf with him. He's actually a very good golfer. You guys had big shoes to fill. I've been incredibly impressed with both of you guys, and I just really want to give double thumbs up. You guys are doing amazing.
Thank you so much. I'm also going to take the medal.
Suck it, Ricardo. Suck it, Ricardo.
We got it. All right, and for me, I've got some new strain reviews that are coming up, so stay tuned for those. Got some interesting pickups at the Chalice Festival, so some hot new strain reviews coming down the pipe. Thanks so much to Jim for joining us today, and thanks to you, the home viewer, for tuning in. Again, find us on YouTube. You can subscribe to our channel, dpost.tpo.st/potvids. Yeah, that's a new one, so we're getting used to it. You get used to it too. Try type it into your browser a few times. Send it to a friend. But yeah, leave us a comment in the comment section. You do pot or not there. Hashtag pot or not. Just help spread the word of the show. It helps us help more people learn more about pot. Helping is great. For Janae Burrows, producer Vince, and the whole Cannabis Show crew, I'm Jake Brown. We'll see you next week.
I'm going any pot, so you'll be raising at the end. I'll say it again. Ain't afraid to get in. I'll be going for the jackpot with ace in my hand. I'm raw.